Do people come up to you and ask you for photos or
Here?
Yeah,
all the time. Like, it's actually kind of like low-key crazy, like how frequent it actually happens. Because it's like, it'll be like, I'll go to like, let's say like a drive tournament, for example. I'll stop by because like my brother's more in that like age category. Like, he's just first year college, so he knows a lot of like the younger dudes, so he's like friends with them. And he'll like take me to go see like watch a kid play or something like that, and I'll just be chilling in the gym, and I'll have these little kids come up with a Sharpie asking me to sign their ball and shit. I had that happen at the drive tournament that was like a week ago. I think it was a week ago.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think it's funny. Like, I laugh because I'm like, this is what it is here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But it's like in the States, it's like no one other than if you know hoops, no one really knows you like that. But here it's a whole different story.
Right.
But it's cool.
You find it a little weird though, huh? Because you don't. Why are these people? I mean, it's a good feeling. I'm sure you feel great when it happens, but is it crazy to you? Is it weird every time it happens?
Nah, because it's been happening since like high school.
Since high school, right?
Like,
yeah.
Since shit, I'd say like I have. There's a lot of stories that I've had. My mom would tell you like there's a lot from like probably like 11th, 12th grade, and then just onwards. It's like every time I come home and I'm out, like I'll go to the mall and people will see me at the mall and you can hear them like, so, not everyone comes up and will be like, yo, like let me talk to you, let me get a pic or something like that. But I can like hear them from like behind me, like, oh, that's Miguel. And I just start laughing. 'Cause I'm like, my mom will hear it, my brother will hear it, someone will hear it, and they'll start laughing. I'm like, they're like, that's just like how it is now, though. Like, it's not anything at this point. It's not anything new. Like, I know how it is.
Yeah.
And all these younger kids, like, they follow me on Instagram and shit, so that's like they know.
Right. Was it a little weird at the beginning, or did you embrace it?
With that,
like, was it a little like what the fuck and kind of like distracting you a little bit, but you kind of just got used to it and you knew that you were in it now, right?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't say it was weird. It was kind of cool because like at a young age, like you don't really have that. Like, I mean, how many people really got that? You know what I'm saying? Where you got people little kids that just, you know what I'm saying, like start coming up to you and shit. But so I wouldn't say it was weird. It was kind of a cool feeling. But like as I got older, it just kind of like at the point that I'm at right now, I'd rather not have that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was when I was younger, I fucked with it. Like, it was cool. You wanted the hype. You wanted to like to be known. But now it's kind of like I'm cool with just like I tell my brother all the time, if I go somewhere in public where it's like basketball related, I always have my hood on. Like, it sounds like so like corny, like cocky type shit, but it's like it's true. Like, I have my hood on, and like I said, I was at a drive tournament, hood was still on, and like. These little kids will see me still come ask for.
What changed? Why are you?
It's just like I don't really fuck with that kind of stuff no more. Like, it's cool to be known, and I know I'm known, but it's like, I mean, it's just not. That's kind of I've kind of outgrown that.
Right, yeah. It's at the end of the day, it's not that important. I mean, it's what you do, right?
Exactly, and it's like I'm not no NBA player, so it's like to me, it's like that's just boosting my head for no reason. So I kind of like try to stay away from. You know, letting it kind of get to my head and whatnot. So
right, man. I want to get into this because, all right. So, ball started for you at a young age, from what I've heard. I did a little bit of research. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know a lot about you. And I'll tell you my time when I did see you play.
Yeah.
But when did it really start?
Shit, it was a minute ago. I was probably. I think when I was around 6 is when I started playing it a little bit more. My grandma, you know, everyone's got their story. My grandma and my mom, they actually argue about who got me into basketball. And my grandma claims it was her that she got me, you know, those little tyke hoops?
Oh, yeah.
The ones that you get like Toys R Us and shit. She got me one from a garage sale, and she used to say that I would shoot on that with any type of ball. Like if I had a soccer ball, I'd shoot it, a basketball, whatever it was. So she's like, yeah, he likes basketball, so let's put him in basketball. So when I was like 6, 7, I was like grade 2 or 3, they put me in that YMCA league and Steve Nash stuff. So I started playing in that, everyone that hoops. And that was good growing up. Like they always played.
Steve Nash was the shit, man.
Yeah, that's what. And then played in that for a little bit. And then I got to like 4th grade, and my mom had got the athlete flyers. You remember, you know, the club athlete.
Hell yeah.
She had got a flyer, like they were handing out flyers at the YMCA trying to take all the kids to come to like the camps and stuff. So my mom, because mom's a single mom, and so I usually have to go to like some camp in the summer or like daycare or like something like that when I was that old. I can't stay home. She put me in the athlete thing, kind of like damn near for daycare. And she's like, you're going to go to this because I need somewhere for you to go while I'm at work. So I was like, cool. So I went and did it. Oh, no, actually, I wasn't like cool. At first, I was like, yeah, no, I was cool with the YMCA. Like, I was hooping in the YMCA. I didn't want to go play against nobody else that was like good because I was like, my ego was up. But she's like, you have to because I got to go to work. So I was like, all right. So I ended up playing in that, and then played in that, and I was like, nice. I was a little white kid that just 4th grade just shooting threes. Wasn't supposed to be shooting threes, but I was pulling it.
Yeah. Okay.
And they were like, you know, this kid's actually pretty good. And like, I didn't know shit about basketball like that. I barely knew any of the rules. Like, I was just hooping the hoop. And they're like, you need to come try out for our U13 like Metro Club team that played at the LEC. I'm in 4th grade.
Right.
And
so you're playing against older people, like older kids.
7th graders.
7th grade. And you were in grade
4.
Okay.
Yeah. And so they're like, you need to come try out for our U13 team. And at this point, like, I kind of played like a lot of sports at that time, like just for fun, like soccer, like basketball, all types of shit. And then went and did the tryout, and it was like the worst tryout ever because all those kids were good. Like, they were good at the time. And I wasn't experienced in that. So I had like the fucking worst tryout that you could have. I still remember it to this day. And I told my mom after the trial, I was like, there's no fucking way I'm making the team. I was like, there's no way. And I was like, and if I don't, I'm going to play soccer. That's what I wanted to do. I was like, I'm going to go play soccer. So I'm at school, and my teacher, you know how they got the phones in the classroom? My teacher, she's like, Miguel, your mom's on the phone. I'm like, the fuck? Like, why is my mom on the classroom phone? Usually it'd be like at the office. And so then she's on the phone. She's like, you made the team, da 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 da. And I'm like, oh damn, for real? She's like, well, the B team. And I was like, oh shit. So I was on the B team, and I wasn't too happy about that because I was like, shit, I want to be on the A team. That was like with like Sagar Dule and like those type of guys.
Got you.
And I was like, I wanted to be on the A team. So I ended up playing on the B team.
So so sorry to interrupt, but like your mom seems like, shout out to single moms too, because my mom's a single mom too, so I get it. Sounds like she was a big advocate and supporter for you getting into ball, or was it the fact that you were so concerned about making the team that she just wanted to let you know and make you happy? Or was it a bit of both? Like, yes, like, because she wanted you to pursue basketball. Was it?
I think it was more like she wanted, because like I said, like obviously being born in or raised in Surrey, I think it was like I was raised between like Surrey Central and the Guildford area when I was like around that age. I went to Lena Shaw Elementary. Like it's kind of like one of the rougher parts of Surrey, being right in the middle. And I think that she'd seen how a lot of those kids were that I hung out with, because I used to live next to like this complex that was for like low income like people, and a lot of those kids ended up going to my elementary school, and I used to play with them. But I think that she had kind of seen like the way that they were growing up, being brought up. She didn't want that. So she tried to get me into like activities that she could afford, obviously, to get me to kind of not follow that path, if that makes sense.
Got you. And
so she was a big advocate on making sure that, you know, I was going to be taken care of, going down the right path with what she had. So that's kind of like why she wanted me to play.
Got you.
And so I ended up playing, and then played on the B team for a whole season, got better every year. And then by like 7th grade, that was when I started to get a little more recognition, I'd say, through like the basketball community in BC. Like more people started to know me. And then by high school, that was kind of when shit kind of started to take off.
At what point, because it sounds like you obviously love playing basketball, but was it when you got that recognition that you started to think, okay, I can do something with this? Or was it always, as soon as you picked up a ball, you thought to yourself, I want to be good? You know what I'm saying? Like, was
Yeah.
it at what point was and what were you thinking when you made that decision? Were you saying I want to be as good as this person? I want to make it to this level. Like, what was the process in that?
I'd say it was probably when I got to high school is when I realized like I was good enough to take it to another level. Whether like at that point it was probably college. I mean, every young kid's got like the whole dream of going to a league, playing pro and whatnot. And obviously I still have, those aspirations. But I'd say when I got to high school and started getting the recognition is when I was like, okay, like, damn, I'm pretty good. Now I think it too, like it goes hand in hand with what I was saying about my mom. Like she also recognized like, okay, like a lot more people that know, because my mom doesn't really know hoops like that, but a lot more people that do know hoops are starting to like, see that Miguel's actually good, like he can do something with it. And, going to college that wasn't a thought process. Like that would have been something that I would have had to pay for had I not got a scholarship. That would have been something where I would have had to take out student loans. Like, who knows if I would have even went to college. Like, it could have been anything. And so that was kind of where I was like, my mom was like, yeah, like, if you can get a scholarship, go get a scholarship. And at first it was kind of like, when it first started happening, it was like the U Sports schools, like the UBCs, like those type of things. And then I got to a little bit older, I'd say like 9th grade, 10th grade, when I went to drive. And then that's when shit like started to change in terms of like, okay, he's a Division I basketball player for sure. Okay,
Right.
he has a chance to be a pro. Like,
Right.
that was kind of when shit started to take off.
Right. So at no point at the beginning did you ever think I want to go NBA, I want to go D1? Because that's for me when we were growing up, my time, when we started playing ball, every dude was like, yo, NBA, D1.
Right.
Because there was just like this carrot with D1 where it's like we're trying to chase this thing. We didn't really know why we wanted to get to D1, but we knew we wanted that. That was like, you're him if you make D1. And it's delusional, right? A lot of kids like thought that, especially like around my time. But you never thought that. Like you didn't even think of it that way. You just kind of thought, okay, well, realistically, how much student loans do I have to take out? How is this going to affect my mom? How is this going to affect me? What are the moving parts involved in this? So it wasn't ever like, oh, I love basketball, I want to make D1, I want to make NBA.
Yeah, no, because I mean, like I didn't really know a whole lot about Division I basketball and all that kind of stuff until like I got later on into high school and people started like telling me, like you're a Division I basketball player. Like I'll say when I got to high school is when that whole like situation with Division I started to happen. But before that, like, nah, that wasn't.
That's weird to me, yo.
No, I know.
That's really
it's
weird.
Crazy how shit like turns out. And so like for me, yeah, no, it was all throughout elementary school and whatnot. It was just I played basketball to play basketball, keep myself from doing dumb shit.
That's weird to me because do you think a bit of that not having that pressure over yourself, that thing like, Miguel, you got to make D1, that's your thing. Do you think that helped you make D1? Do you think that took the pressure off for you to go out and perform and do your thing?
I mean, I would say maybe a little bit, but like I said, like as I got older, the D1 like dream kind of became more real. So I'd say that like I started to have pressure, but I mean, that wasn't something that fazed me, if that like makes sense. Like the pressure of like going D1, like at the end of the day, it's just hoops. The way I've always thought about it is like, it's just hoops and I'm having fun doing it. And I work hard doing it. And I mean, I'm busting half these kids' asses doing it. So I was like, there was no pressure. It was just me having fun. I knew that at the end of the day, like everything was going to take care of itself. And I still think that to this day, like it is what it is. And you're going to make the most out of a situation if you allow yourself to. And as soon as you start putting pressure on, situations and you start thinking too far in the future, that to me is when people's careers start to get jeopardized and they start going downhill. So I wouldn't say that I never put no pressure. My mom definitely never put no pressure. My mom was like the most like carefree, even to this day. Like she's like, do what you got to do, have fun. I feel like that is a big reason to why I was so successful. Is I didn't have the parents, the mom, the grandma that, you know, stressed that I needed to be in the gym for, you know, this many hours. I needed to, you know, go work out like 7 days a week. You know, I needed to go get 1,000 shots up a day. It was all because I wanted to do that, and they just supported it. And so I feel like nowadays you see a lot of kids that'll turn away from sports in general. Like, it doesn't even have to be basketball, because it's their parents that are like, you got to do it this way. You got to do it like that. Like, it's got to be done this, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
100%.
And that's when kids start to like fall out of love with it, especially at young ages. Young ages, you should let them have fun with it. And that's what I did. That's what my mom let me do. And that's why I kind of just said, you know what, as I got older, this is some shit that I'm gonna take serious. And with, like I said, all the people saying, you know, you're D1, you're this, you're that, like, that's when I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna take it to a different level.
I think it sounds like to me like you had that awareness at a young age, man, where it's like you said, like, hoops is just hoops. It's supposed to be a fun thing with a ball, right? Like, it's not really real life, like the real shit. Is that part of it because you know, you saw your mom grinding, you saw her being a single mom and taking care of you? You have any siblings?
Yeah, I got two
siblings, right? I mean, that's the toughest job in the world, man. So
for sure.
Seeing that you kind of understood that it's more than just ball, and it's the real life things are trying to provide and take care of your family. And that kind of, I don't know, I just keep thinking of it as like you didn't have that pressure of like, okay, like, if I don't make D1, I'm a failure, because a lot of guys think that way. They really do.
Sure.
Right? It's like I see guys now, and we'll talk about this, like, if they don't make D1, if they don't go to UBC or SFU, it's like, oh, I'm a failure, right? I'm not a hooper, right? So, but you realize that at a young age, like you were okay with just being like, yo, I'm playing ball, I'm having fun, I'm busting these guys' asses. But even if I don't make anything, as long as I can take care of my family, as long as I can do something and stay out of trouble, that's okay with me.
No, for sure. Yeah, like, I mean, I think for me, it was more about, like, it wasn't about making D1 or making a shit ton of money. You know how, like, people kind of had these like predetermined thoughts that, you know, I'm playing basketball because I want to, you know, make a shit ton of money. I want this to be like known and whatnot. Like, to me, it was about having fun and then being able to help my mom in ways that I could help her. So obviously, you know, young kid, I don't have a job, nothing like that, but a way I could help her was get a scholarship. So if that was a scholarship through Canada or the US or wherever I was going to get money, like, that to me was what I wanted ultimately. It didn't have to be D1. It was more so like, how am I going to help my mom? And one thing that I'll say did help my mom was when I did get older, like, my mom never had to pay a dime for basketball. Like, really, like, in terms of like the training and stuff, people wanted to do it, you know, with me for videos and stuff like that. So that kind of, like, if my mom had to pay for it, it wouldn't have happened. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wouldn't have happened. So,
and would you have been okay with that?
Yeah, because I mean, growing up, I always worked out by myself. Like, me through 5th grade to 8th grade, because high school is when that kind of shit started to happen. It was me working out by myself, and it was like I had this little ass hoop in the complex that was next to me and next to my apartment. It was like 9 feet, and I was hooping on that hoop for like damn near my whole childhood, you know, through elementary school and whatnot. And I do that by myself. No one training me, nothing like that. And I would have been cool with it because I knew I could make something out of nothing. You know what I'm saying? But then it was just a plus when, you know, the people started to come in and be like, you know, let's work out. Like, I'm gonna give you a workout, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's get in the gym. I'll rebound for you, whatever. But, you know, at the end of the day, there's an incentive to it, obviously. But, even stuff like that, like making sure that my mom was taken care of in terms of sports and stuff, because sports is expensive these days.
It's crazy.
And so took care of me, took care of my brother. Like, my brother hooped for a little bit and took care of him. Took care of my sister. My sister's little right now. She's 7, so she just kind of got into it a little bit. Takes care of her. So it's like, mom's never really put forth no money in terms of
Right.
basketball like that.
Yeah. And so, all right, with you, so when it switched near grade 10, you said grade 10, right?
Grade
That's
10
when
was the big, like probably my biggest
right.
step.
And when you started to notice, okay, like I can really do something with it, did that pressure start coming on of, you know, making it there, and now there's that extra bit, like, okay, now I can do something, you know, I can help my mom with this, you know, get a scholarship, you know, take care of her. Did I ever set in at any point, or no?
Nah, I'd say when that stuff started to happen, I knew like it's gonna sound like cocky, but like I knew I was gonna get a scholarship at that point in 10th grade.
To D1.
Yeah, to D1 for sure. I knew I was gonna get a scholarship. Like there was no doubt in my mind. Like I don't think there was a doubt in anybody that was coaching me, unless like, you know, some shit had happened. Obviously, knock on wood that never happens. But I knew like 10th grade, I was like, I'm gonna be Division I basketball. That's when school started hitting me up.
Okay. How did you know that? But other than the fact that schools were hitting you up?
Because I was like, I just knew that like I never compared myself to people here. I was 10th grade playing senior, and in the BC finals at 10th grade had 30 in the final. Like I knew that I was the best here, but I'd always compare myself to, I wouldn't say compare myself, but I'd look at myself and be like, you know, these are the guys in the US that I'm playing against. And in 10th grade is when we were actually playing like on the circuit, and we were playing against, like we went to Vegas and we played Team CP3. I'll never forget this. We played Team CP3, and we were in like the platinum division of whatever Las Vegas tournament it was. Played Team CP3, who was the #1 team in the nation at that point for our age. It's when they had like all the rankings and shit. And I gave him 30, and that was Team CP3. And then we played. They were all EYBL teams, and that's when I was like, okay, like I'm not gonna say, you know, I'm a better prospect than some of these guys, because, you know, you can just tell just by like the physical features that they're gonna be nice. But I was like, one thing I know for sure is I'm more skilled than all these guys. So I was like, if I can compete with these guys now, like I know for a fact I'm only getting better, and it's gonna work out.
That's when you knew.
Yeah,
that's when you knew. Did you always have that confidence?
I mean, yeah, I definitely had that confidence. I think like a lot of people that are in my circle will tell you that one thing about me is that like the way I carry myself is like damn near extreme confidence, to the point where it's like arrogant. But it's not me trying to be like that. This is like how I live my life. You know what I'm saying? Like I go about everything, not just basketball, like anything in life, with the thought process that like I'm the best at whatever it is that I'm gonna do, whether or not I am or not. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna go in with that mentality.
Was that from a young age, or did you develop that?
Oh, definitely young age.
Young age,
definitely young age. I was a cocky little shithead when I was little. My mom would tell you I was cocky, but obviously as I got older, I kind of figured out how to balance cocky and then just confident, and not be that little arrogant shithead that, you know, was just annoying. And to like the person where it's like now, you know, I can, you know, come on things like this and just be like, you know, like I am confident, and I earned that. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how I live my life, and I'm not gonna, you know, hold that from anybody. Like if you like it, you like it. You don't, you don't. That's what it is.
It's funny you say that though, because Jermaine has said the same thing. He never compared himself to people here, because he got to a point where it's like, okay, well, who am I competing with in Seattle when I go to Rotary and those guys, right? Was there a point, like, I'm just trying to think, like, did you, how much did your environment affect you? Because being from Surrey is a thing, man. Like,
no, definitely.
You know, when you, because you would, it's not a, I'm not going to generalize, but it makes sense you're from Surrey. If you said you're from North Van, I'd be like, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, you know, that's because, I mean, Tyler, you know Tyler Kepke?
No.
From Handsworth? He's an older guy. He went D1, has a long career in China. He's from North Van, but that's an anomaly. Like you would never expect like a privileged little white picket fence community to have this guy that's an absolute savage, right? So 100,000,000% where you're from, your surroundings, your environment has a impact on you. And I'm only assuming, but would you agree?
Oh, 100%. 100%. The environment, how you're raised, like how your parents brought you up, like all of that plays a huge factor in, like I believe this. I think there's obviously people that change or can change throughout the course of time, like, you know, in their life as they get older. But one thing, I agree with you. Like the environment that you're brought up in and how you're brought up is kind of shapes who you are and who you end up becoming a lot of the time. And for me, like basketball wise, like growing up in Surrey, like we'll start off, like I said, with my mom, for example, like just how I was brought up by her, nothing was ever, you know what I'm saying, given to me. And everything that I wanted, I had to, like my mom obviously did, my parents did what they could to provide, you know, things that I wanted. And I'm not going to sit here and say that like, you know, I was, you know, this poor kid that didn't get anything, because I got stuff. But a lot of the stuff that I did want, like I had to go get it myself. You know what I'm saying? And so when you kind of figure out at a young age that you need to go do this stuff by yourself, you kind of start to like implement that into everyday things, whether that be sports, you know, just life in general. And you start to become independent. You start to be, you know, this dude that can, you know, just get shit done. And for me, it was never like, I'm going to rely on, you know, my parents to back me up if shit fails. Like if shit fails, then I have to figure it out. And that's at a young age. And then, you know, obviously like my parents are divorced and single mom, like you kind of see how that shapes you as well. I'm sure you know, like that definitely shapes you. And for me, like I had to grow up quick. And so that, I think all those things kind of played a role. And then obviously being from Surrey, like, you know, it's tougher. Like you got a lot more, like what's the proper way of saying? You got more, like there's more issues. Like
there's more, yeah. There's more heat. There's more,
right.
You know, there is that energy in Surrey where, you know, you got to be 10 toes down a lot of times, right? I mean, how much in talking about your peers in high school, the guys you played with, how much did that shape you, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, the guys that I played with in high school, they were like typical Surrey guys.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like if you know Surrey, like that's like those were typical. And I feel like I got like a good mix growing up because like I said, I was raised through like the Guildford, Surrey Central area. So it was like a lot of white people, a lot of like, you know, Middle Easterns and stuff like that. Then I got older, went to high school and I went to Newton, and that's like 99%, you know, brown people. And so it's kind of different. It's different cultures, obviously, and everything's a little bit different, but the same thing, like they're all kind of tougher, you know, on the edges, like, you know what I'm saying? Like just the way it is, thicker skin. And I feel like that shaped me a lot, you know, playing with those guys, because a lot of them just don't give a fuck. And so that's kind of like the mentality part where I feel like I gained a lot of that from them, is like the I don't give a fuck mentality, because they don't. And so I feel like that changed me a little bit.
Right. And you gotta have thick skin to be around those guys, right? I mean, you went to Tammy, and for people that don't know, Tammanowis is all brown people, right?
Yeah.
And so, because it's crazy, because from an outsider looking in, when I heard about you, I was like, okay, what school is you? Tammanowis. Oh shit. Yeah. So I immediately connected the dots. I'm like, okay, this guy's a dog already because he's from Tammanowis.
Yeah.
Right, because there is that label with Tammanowis and, you know, dudes from Surrey.
You definitely gotta be tougher to go there, for sure. Definitely be.
What's some of the shit that?
Man.
I mean, if you have any stories, because it's important. I feel like it's important to talk about these things, man, because people don't really realize like why. People don't really understand why you are the way you are, and I think that high school experience, being in that environment, being one of the only white dudes that go to fucking to Tamanois. Like it's a real thing, you know?
Yeah, no, you see at Tamanois, I mean, I've seen like there were countless fights throughout the years that I was there. Like there was countless fights. You'd see there was like it's sad to like, obviously, like I'm not trying to promote this kind of stuff because it's obviously not good shit, but like it's the reality of schools like this. And so it's not just Tamanois. I say Tamanois is definitely one of the tougher schools to go to. But like you saw, there was like a stabbing that happened between like a 12th grader and like a 10th grader or something like that, like this past year at Tamanois. Like when I was in high school, or when I went to Tamanois, like you'd get all the fights, you get like the batons and stuff, people hitting each other with batons, like the little shanks and shit like that. Like that stuff is like, it's when people say Tamanois, like it's facts. Like that's the shit that does happen, whether that be during school or whether that be after school. But it's happening at some point, and you got people that are just they're violent. They're violent, and it like I said, it does shape you, in terms of like you got to be tough to go there. But I was like grateful enough that, you know, obviously basketball was my kind of way in, and so I was cool with everybody. Like you get. Like you said, like it's 99% like brown people that go there.
Yeah.
And so you got like the occasional, you know, white guy, white girl there, but you don't really see them. It was like very rare to see
Drake,
white people anyway.
Yeah.
It was like, so I was cool with all of them. And it's crazy now because like all my friends in the States, I'll tell them, I'm like, I probably have more friends that are like Indian than any other like race in the world. White people, black people, like Indian, like they're like my boys. And like that's from Surrey, that's from Abbotsford. Like when I come home, I hang out with all of them, and most of my friends are brown. Like I told my girl now, like all my friends damn near are brown, all of them. And so when you come, don't be surprised when you see like I'm hanging out with a bunch of brown guys. And so, and in the States, you don't hear that. Like brown, hearing like Indian is like a rare thing.
Yeah, it's very rare. There's, here and there you see a couple brown people, but it's
certain areas.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, man. I honestly think that's a big piece of why you're the way you are, and the way, you know, that thick skin and having, you know, having that confidence. Because I mean, dude, I went to Handsworth, and bro, just someone bringing a fucking, bro, if someone brought a baton in, it'd be like, it would be on North Shore News.
No, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? So it's, I guess because I want to kind of get into, like your situation. Do you think being at Tamanois, because a lot of things have to fall into place for you to go D1, right? Because I feel like D1, you can be nice, but you also got to be lucky with the team you're with, the grad class you're in. I'm not saying your grad class was bad or anything, but you know, there's a lot of moving parts in that regard where, you know, what drive team were you on, right? What opportunity, like what part of what system were you in, right? Like, do you think you got lucky in a lot of places that led you to get to D1?
I'd say, you know, I was fortunate enough to be able to play in programs that were like at the time the best programs to play for. But I wouldn't say like my game and like how I took advantage of those situations was lucky. I'd say that was kind of through like just preparation, like my work ethic and whatnot. So like, for example, like drive and whatnot, drives in terms of like getting the exposure in BC, I mean, it's the best club to do it. Like there's no other, like respectfully, like we can go down the list. There's no club that compares to drive when it comes down to exposure and getting kids the notice that they want. So I was fortunate enough to be able to play on a really good drive team, you know, me, James Woods, and then we got like a bunch of other guys that, you know, we picked up from like Alberta, like one of my best friends named Sabri. I don't know if you've heard of him. Yeah. But him, like we had some dudes on our team, but I'd say like my work ethic and everything was what kind of led me to, you know, get the freedom to hoop the way I wanted to get the exposure that I wanted. and drive just kind of put me on the light to do that. And then in terms of like Tamanois, like the whole reason I went to Tamanois was for basketball, because at the time that's when I played for Athlete. It was like the year before I went to Drive, and all the Athlete kids went to Tamanois. So that's why I ended up going to Tamanois. And it was all like strictly basketball shit. I moved from Guilford to Newton just for it. So I was fortunate enough to be an 8th grader playing, junior at the time. And obviously the coaches, they knew me and whatnot. And then when I got to 9th grade, I was on the senior team. So
you knew you were going to get the keys to the team. Like you knew you were going to get the keys
through time, for sure. I knew I was going to get the keys to the team. And as long as I just kept improving every year, I knew it was gonna work out.
So there was a bit of strategy in going to Tamanois, right?
Oh,
like
yeah,
it was,
sure.
If you felt like you were gonna be second fiddle to someone else, you wouldn't have pulled the trigger on it, right? I mean,
I think at that point it was because like low key I was like second in a sense because I was playing with older guys that had been at Tamanois.
Yeah.
So, but for me, that wasn't something that kind of discouraged me. Like that was something I was like, okay, that's cool. Like I'm a come in there and I'm a play the way I play, and then we'll just see how shit pans out. And it ended up working out, in my favor. Obviously, as time went on, I ended up, getting more of the keys and more freedom, longer leash. But I wouldn't say, going to Tamanois, I knew I was going to be the man right away. It was one of those things that was like, okay, you go to Tamanois, you're going to get better for sure. And you're going to have a chance to win provincials. Because at the time, that's what I was looking for. So.
Right. Man, I want to talk about the first time I saw you play. So I was, what summer was it? 2018, when did you graduate high school? 2019? 2018?
Tammy, I graduated 2018.
2018. Yeah. Okay. So it was that summer. It was at the Oval. I was coaching, and you guys were about to play, right? And I remember Jaden and Pasha came up to me and said, "Yo, you gotta wait." And I've never seen you play, and I've heard about you. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna see what he's about. And Jaden and Pasha were like, "Dude, just watch. It's gonna be a show."
Yeah.
And within the first 5 minutes, I was like, oh, okay, I get it. I get why you went at your own speed.
Yeah.
Own speed, rolling it to the beat of your own drums. No one's speeding you up. You're going at your own pace at all times. Not doing too much. Yeah. That's the thing I noticed about you. I was like, okay, because I was expecting something like, I knew you weren't considered to be a crazy athlete or anything like that. You're athletic, but it wasn't, you're going to be, crowning dudes, anything like that.
Right.
But that's the thing I noticed. I'm like, okay, he's figured it out. I remember thinking, he's figured out the game. Like this shit's just, he goes on his own accord. How did you develop that? Is that just, because I know you're going to say hard work and all that, but it's something you just have, man, right? Yeah. Like, let's just be honest here.
I think honestly, like the whole, playing at my own speed and playing, with like what people will say about me when I play is like it doesn't look like cone work, if that makes sense. Like, a lot of people nowadays with trainers, cones and all this shit that gets implemented in these workouts. But me growing up, I didn't do none of that shit because I didn't know any, like, no workouts with cones and shit. So it was like a freestyle. So with more time, like I felt like you kind of and playing a lot of one-on-one. Like I used to play everybody one-on-one. Like it didn't matter who it was. You could be the best player or you could be a bum and I'll still play you one-on-one. And so like through time, just kind of the game started to become more natural. And so when I got to high school and even now, like everything for me, the pace, how I play, like you said, like I'm not an athlete per se. So I rely on a lot of my just feel, my skill. And that kind of was developed through just me hooping by myself, like me hooping against, just randoms, at the park or, at the rec center. I used to go to Newton Rec Center all the time, play whoever was at the rec center one-on-one. And so the feel just kind of just came naturally. But that's not something that's easily like developed. Like that takes time.
Takes time.
And so I'd say that like when people watch me and they say like, like you're saying, like he just knows the game. It's just because all feel like this is how it was for me growing up. Like never had no drills, never had no cone work type shit. Like it was all natural game for me.
Right. Yeah, it really feels like that when I watch you play. And that cone shit's bullshit, huh?
No, it's so bullshit. I hate that shit. I hate it.
Because I see it, man. Like I coach kids that do all that like training shit. They shoot a million shots, all these fucking run off screens, boom boom. It just they never do it in a game. It's like, bro, why you? And is it just simple as, bro, just go out and play?
I mean, for me, like I said, like I play 1-on-1. I think 1-on-1 is the most helpful thing that you can do as a basketball player. Like in terms of development, is finding someone that's similar level or better than you and just playing 1-on-1. Like I think in terms of like just like like if you were to watch my game, like my mixtape for this season had came out, and if you watch my game, it was a lot of the clips are just straight ISO, like 5 seconds on the shot clock, just type shit. And that shit not developed because of cones and because someone's telling me, oh, let's go do a sidestep. It's like I got a defender in front of me. How am I gonna get my shot off when I'm playing once? And you got 3 dribbles. Like I play like 3 dribbles, and you get creative with it. You learn different shit that people that are saying put a fucking cone in front of you, like do this. Like you can't learn that with the cone, if that makes sense. So I'd say 1-on-1 is like one of the biggest things, and then 2 is like the what kids have the wrong idea about is, like you said, doing all this extra shit that's not gonna work in a game. Like if you're trying to be an elite basketball player, you have to do shit that is gonna complement your game. You got to work on shit that is gonna be game realistic. So like for me, you'll never see me coming in the gym doing 100 different combo moves trying to go score a layup. Like that's never gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? Like I come in and like we'll say this, like when I was at Idaho State for this past year, and I had my assistant coach, me and him were really tight. We'd work out all the time. It was like me coming off like pin downs and flare screens and just making different reads without even the ball in my hand yet, and then just catch and shoots. Or like because I was an ISO player, I did get to work on that like little extra shit where I take more than 5 dribbles or whatever. But for the most part of my workout, like it was just straight conditioning, like me running up and down, transition threes, flare threes, pin down threes, curling, mid-range floats. Like you won't see me doing all that extra shit. And that's what kids have the wrong idea about nowadays, is that they got to do all this extra shit that they see from all these trainers and whatnot, and they got all these little fucking different things that they put in their workouts.
Bullshit
like
gimmicks, man.
Useless.
Gimmicky ass shit. It's weird.
Yeah.
At any point, did you ever get intimidated by anything or distracted by outside noise or anything?
I say, like we were talking about earlier, like with the whole kind of being recognized a little bit when I was younger. I think when it first started to happen, I'm not going to say it necessarily distracted me a whole lot, but I think I let it get to my head a little bit, just a little bit. And I think that kind of, stopped my growth for a little bit. I'm not going to say a whole lot of time because, as I got older, I realized, like, that's what I was telling you. Like, I was like, I don't like that shit anymore. So I'd say, like, when the recognition started to come, but, like I said, I had a mom that's, keeps me level-headed, and, I feel like I have good, head on my shoulders. So I wouldn't say there was too much that really distracted me. I was always pretty focused, I'd say.
Right.
So, yeah.
How much did drive impact you? Because I played drive for summer. I get it. There's this family, almost culty. I don't want to shit on drive. I love drive. I love Pasha. I love Lucian. That's my guy.
Right.
But there is this bit of us against the world vibe. And it's always been a known thing with the top guys that drive, where you guys get taken care of. How do they take care of you? If it's confidential,
right? Yeah.
You don't need to. But
no, what I'll say is like they took good care of me in the sense that Pasha, Chad, like all the coaches, they treated me like I was their son. You know what I'm saying? They got a lot of kids, so I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you and say they treat everybody the same, because they don't. That's just the reality of life, though. That's not just them. That's any club you go to. They're not gonna treat everybody, you know, ideal all the time. It's just, it is what it is. But they took me in, you know, in ninth grade, and like I said, they treated me like, you know, I was their son. They took good care of me. Like, they put me in, they gave me the ball as soon as I came. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's tough because James Woods, he's like one of my best friends, and he's been playing for Drive since he was little, like longer than I have. And, you know, for him to, you know, have me on his team, because that was his team essentially, because I came in ninth grade. He's been with that team since he was, I don't even know, 10 years old.
Fifth, yeah. Like real early. So for him to take me on the team and welcome me with like open arms, and then, you know, the coaches, you know, give me the green light and say, you know, you and James are the guys, like, you guys do what you got to do, and we're gonna put you, like I said, in the light to make shit happen. Like, I couldn't thank them enough for that. But I think there's this weird like idea with some of the coaches that a lot of kids that don't make the Elite 1 team or the Elite 2 team, they'll say like Pasha and a lot of these guys, you know, didn't treat them well. It's a load of shit. It's, at the end of the day, they're real, and that's the problem with today, especially in BC basketball, is kids don't want to hear the truth. They don't want to hear the real shit, and these kids have these dreams and aspirations of going D1, but as soon as someone tells them, you know, they're not good enough yet, or they need to work on this, or, you know, you're not good enough to be on our Elite 1 team that plays in front of these coaches, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's automatic, like, fuck you guys. Like, I don't want to hear that shit. And that's the problem with a lot of these kids these days. And that's why I think Drive sometimes, you know, when some of these kids, you know, leave the program, they'll shit on them, but it's because, you know, they were just being honest. They're being real. And Pasha and me and all the coaches, we've had so many talks where they've told me the same shit. Like, when I was younger, I had a fucking terrible diet. Terrible. I was gonna ask you, did they ever get onto you about anything?
But they got into me in a different way, because they knew that I was gonna be a Division I basketball player. So they got, and Pasha played at Clemson, and so he's got Division I experience, been around there. So he was telling me, he's like, you're a Division I basketball player, start fucking acting like it. You know what I'm saying? Stop acting like a little ass kid. Because there was times where, you know, I was young. I'd go to bed at fucking 2 a.m. We have a game at 8 a.m. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I'd wake up, wouldn't want to go to breakfast. I want to sleep for the extra 30 minutes. And there's this one story, I remember it vividly. We were in Portland, and we had like a team bus, and me and Sabri, we were roommates, and we had Popeyes the night before. Dang. And we had like some shit, biscuits or some shit left over in the morning, and we woke up and we were like, yeah, we're not going to breakfast. Like, we were like, fuck that, it's too early, because the game was like 8 a.m. So we got up and we killed the biscuits right before the game.
Oh,
Pastor, he's down there, he's like, where were you at? And I was like, shit, I was sleeping. Like, we ate breakfast though. So get on the bus, and he's like, Miguel, come up here. So I end up, he's sitting at the front of the bus, and he doesn't call Sabri, he only calls me. I come up to the front of the bus, and he goes, what the fuck are you doing? Like, he was hot. He's like, why are you not eating breakfast? I was like, I told you I ate. And he's like, what'd you eat? And I was like, Popeyes. And this was at like 7 o'clock in the morning. And he's like, see, this is the problem. He's like, you don't take this shit serious enough. And he like got on my ass about it, and was like, you need to figure your shit out. And he's like,
just on that little fact that you didn't,
little thing like that. But he won't do it to other people, but he'll do it to me. And I was like, but I appreciated it, because I was like, long term, like, you should see now, like, I'm not gonna sit here and say I have the healthiest diet in the world, but I take my shit way more serious now, and in terms of like what I put in my body, how I take care of my body. And a big reason is because of that whole staff. Like, they told me what it was, and I mean, and I couldn't appreciate them more.
Yeah, man, that's the whole side of Drive that people don't really see.
No, for sure.
When people see Drive, it's like, oh, they baby the the best players. They do whatever, they can do whatever. But there's a whole side of it where
No, for sure. And like I won't lie to you, like I said, it's a business, and we all know how it is. We're not gonna hold shit back. At the end of the day, they do treat their best players at times, sometimes better than other people.
and that's how the world works.
That is.
Yeah.
You can't tell me that you go to a job and if you're not the best employee, like your boss ain't gonna treat you better than the worst employee. Like that's just what it is. I'm not saying they treat them bad because they don't treat them bad. They're trying to help them, and that's where I'm saying like the whole misconception with these kids taking what they say and then saying fuck them. Like these guys are assholes. They're telling me I suck, like shit like that. No, they ain't telling you suck. They're telling you need to get better at this. They're telling you that you want to be a Division I basketball player. That's a lot to live up to, and especially nowadays. And if you can't be told that you need to improve your game or you need to work on something without getting all salty about it or taking it personal, then good luck being a Division I basketball player. Because I promise you, those motherfuckers don't care. Those coaches don't give a shit.
They don't.
They're ruthless.
Yeah.
And they'll tell you what it is. So it's like people get mad at it, but the problem is, and I was actually telling my brother about it when he was here. He just left, but I was telling my brother about it. I was like, the problem with a lot of kids these days is they get told that they're so fucking good from 10th grade on, and they develop through 8th and 9th grade. They get to 10th grade, they think they're the shit. They're these entitled kids that
one little mixtape, that's all it takes.
And that's the problem, is they're these entitled kids that think they're way better than what they are, and they got all the wrong people in their corner telling them that they're the shit, that they're good, they're the Division I basketball players, this and that. Then they get to 12th grade and they're like, where my offers at? Well, what you mean where your offers at? They ain't got no offers. And now they're blaming everybody else for it. They're saying, Drive didn't put me in the right light for it. No, it ain't Drive. It ain't any of the AAU teams that you play for. You want to play in the States, you want to play in the States. You got to understand what it is. And then, I got to go to prep school. Okay, go to prep school. Now because you've been told you're the shit, you don't know anything about adversity. You go there and you go to a school in the States or you go to Ontario and you're playing against kids that mentality is way different. And they're gonna eat you alive. Like that's just what it is. They're gonna kill you.
It's completely different.
Way different. And these kids don't understand that. And then that's when adversity hits. And because they've ran away from adversity their entire life, because they want to be told that they're the best thing, here, they end up leaving the prep school, and then they turn down all the youth sports, coaches and whatnot because they thought they were too good for them, or the CCA or whatever it is. Turn down those coaches because they're like, nah, I'm D1. And I'm like, nah, you ain't. You think you D1.
Yeah. Everything you just said, it stems back to it's crazy, man. It just all goes back to how you were raised and how your mom treated you.
No, for sure.
Because that's what it is. Because without that, I don't think, you never ran back to your mom. Mom, I didn't get put on the A team or B team or whatever. Like this is all credit to her. I'm saying a lot of, of course, all of it, a lot of it is you, but
yeah, no, it's the biggest supporters for me mentally were my mom, my grandma. Like them two were the ones that kept me in the right direction. So everything, does stem from them.
What would you tell a kid that comes up to you, Miguel, I want to go D1? What's the first thing you want to? Would you ask them why? Why do you want to go D1? What's the reason behind it? Is it because it's just this thing? Oh, D1, you get all the shorties, you get you're on TV, all that. Like, what is it about D1? Like, why not Pac West? Why not CCAA? Right? Like, what would you say to a kid, 13, 14-year-old, Miguel, I love you. You D1. I want to go D1.
I think the biggest thing that I probably tell a kid if they were to ask me that would be, and if I wasn't to give them like a corny answer, I could tell you, are you work hard enough type shit. But I'd say like, are you ready to grow up? Because being a Division I basketball player, like shit sounds sweet. Like you hear about it, you see us on TV, you hear about all the gear, we get a scholarship. But the one thing I learned through being a Division I basketball player is you have to grow up real fucking quick and turn into a man real quick, because that shit is, Division I basketball is a business now. It's as much of a business as anything else. Like the biggest thing that I tell a lot of people is you got to remember that a lot of people will be like, I go D1 or I want to go D1 and like I want to develop and stuff. Like if you don't develop quick, your ass getting kicked to the curb.
You
like
can't.
because your play pays for that coach's family to have a roof over their head, food on the table. It ain't AAU where you can go and you pay whatever it is for the summer and they'll give you a jersey. You can go, you'll play and they'll stick you in every here and there if you're not that good. Nah, they will kick your ass to the curb if you're not producing the way that they want you to produce. So I would say it would have to do with your mental state. Are you ready to be like that dude that is mature enough, man enough, and like a dog damn near to like be able to handle it? Because people don't understand, like that shit is hard.
Right.
It is hard. It's not easy. And yeah, that's what I say. It's just the mentality factor.
Right. And I think a big thing with it too, man, is I think a lot of kids think they want to go D1, but they don't.
No.
Like I remember thinking when I was in high school, obviously, I want to go D1. But looking back on it now, that was just something cool and like this thing for me to be like, yeah, I want to go D1. But my habits and everything I did showed that I did not even remotely closely want to go D1 at all.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so when kids now say they want to go D1 or they want to play at UBC or whatever, do you kind of call their bullshit on? It's like, no, you just like to be cool online. You just want to be that social media guy. It's all really just that.
Yeah.
It's not really like you don't like, you're not willing to put in the work and like the things like growing up to get to that. It's just, I don't know what it's just like a lot of social media and like this like just who's him, who's that influencing shit. Like that's all it really is, man.
Well, I think you could tell like the fakes from the real. Like I personally can tell who's in it for Instagram and social media versus people that are in it because they genuinely like give a shit about basketball and like they want to do something with it. And there's so many kids because social media now is like with like the mixtapes and shit like you were talking about, like it's insane how many kids are just getting mixtapes to get mixtapes and they post it on Instagram and they're cool with that because they get all these views, these likes and whatnot. And that's the whole reason they're doing it. You know what I'm saying? And one thing I fucking hate the most, and this is like personally like could go 50-50, but I think people that post their workouts, like them in the gym, I think you're corny as fuck. I think you're corny as fuck. If you gotta post you gotta post your videos and like your workouts on Instagram and shit like that to show people that you in the gym, like you're fake to me. That ain't it's not real shit. So it's like I feel like I'm good at telling, who really wants it.
Who's in it for the right reasons. Yeah.
Right. And
I mean, you were getting mixtapes though.
Oh yeah, I was getting mixtape, but it's like you got people that make their own mixtapes now. People they'll do anything to just have a highlight. I got mixtapes because people wanted to make me mixtapes. And like
you never okay. You never seeked out someone, yo, make me a mixtape.
Yeah, hell no. It was like at the end of the day, if you're gonna get a mixtape, you're good enough to get a mixtape, you're gonna get a mixtape. Like that's what it was. And back then, like mixtapes started to get bigger when I was in high school, but they were nowhere near what it is now. Now I went to what did I go to? I went to something at the LEC one time with my brother. This was probably last year. And there were like 10 different people with cameras on the baseline for like this shitty ass AU game. And I'm like, and I was like, how many of these kids are probably going to get mixtapes? I asked my brother. My brother's like, probably there's 10 people on the court right now that are playing. I bet you 7 of them get mixtapes.
It's weird, bro. I mean, all you do is you got to pay the cameraman. Yo, make me a mixtape.
That's what I'm saying. That shit ain't, that's weird to me. I don't know. But that's why I could tell like these kids, a lot of these kids are in it for the wrong reason.
Do you think that's just going to get worse with all this? All this?
It is. And like I said, the mentors and shit, people that, these grown ass men that are helping these kids, some of them are just teaching them the wrong shit. And it's bad. It's bad. And it's just going to continue to get to a lot of these kids' heads. And I mean, you already see it, like to see a BC guy go D1, like how often do you see it? It's
Not a
real
lot.
fucking
It's
rare.
rare.
It's
Diamond
rare.
opinion.
And it's not like we're breeding athletes in BC. You know what I'm saying? It's not like we got 6'8" point guards that are just jumping through the gym. You know, we got guys that are similar to me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, it's crazy to me. It's just,
You know, it's people are gonna like a lot of kids are probably gonna watch this that are same size as you, same position, man, and they're gonna see you talk about it, and they're gonna think, wow, if Miguel can do it, I can do it. But then it's just gonna go out. It's gonna go through one ear and out the other.
oh, for sure.
You know, because they're not really about it.
No.
And I mean, it is what it is, and it's
low key sad though, because what I will say is a lot of these young kids, like I've seen a lot of them develop, and some of them could actually be fucking good. You know what I'm saying? Like when I say this shit, I'm not trying to be like a hater, because I want BC basketball to get out there. You know what I'm saying? I want these kids to be successful. I want more people from here to be Division I basketball players. But the reality of it is these kids, like I said, they're just too damn entitled, and they got this soft ass mentality, and no one's gonna want to hear that, and that's cool, because at the end of the day, like, I don't really care. It is what it is. I'm gonna tell you what it is, but that's just the truth behind it. These kids, a lot of these kids have hella potential, but they fucking screw it over because their mentality's weak. They're soft. They got the wrong people trying to help them and teach them shit. They don't want to go through adversity. They don't want to be told, you know what I'm saying, like what they need to work on, what they need to improve on. They just don't want to be told the truth. And that's, you got to figure that out sooner and later. And a lot of people, unfortunately, they figure that shit out later.
Some kids can't control a few of those things in a way because, again, man, environment, like kids growing up in North Van, they're so babied and entitled that that part of the toughness, unless you're inherently tough and there's something about you weird that's like that's got you in that mode at all times, it's tough to create that in a place like North Van, right? So for you, like being from Surrey, it's like, okay, so he's on that time at all times. Right. So some kids don't have the
environment.
Because I think that's a huge thing, man. I really do. Like, because some of these kids, they're so like my buddy Marty, he's from Burnaby. He always used to tell me, like, bro, like when we came to North Van and played you guys, it was like, yo, let's get our numbers. Let's get numbers today, because we're just soft ass little like bitchy, talk a little bit of shit, we fold.
So then this would be what I would say to you then is like, or say, not to you, but like to those kids that come from those wealthier places, and you see it more now, but go to the States, go play, go get out of BC, stop playing in BC and go face a little adversity. Go if you can, go to a prep school that's, you know, known for being a tougher prep school. Go to Orangeville Prep, go to some of those schools in Ontario. Go like get out of your comfort zone if you can. Like, obviously I know there's situations where people, they can't necessarily get out of the situation that they're in. I get that. But if you are able to, put yourself in a tough situation that you're uncomfortable in, where you're not going to have your parents to come save you, or have someone to come save you when shit gets tough, where you got to figure it out on your own. Because we can make all the excuses that we want. Oh, well, you know, I was born this way. My family brought me up this way. Like, yeah, but like, you're telling me that because, you know, people, like, well, we'll just use myself. Like, what I had growing up wouldn't have told you I was going to be a Division I basketball player. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was no thought process with myself or my parents that said, oh yeah, he's going to be a college athlete, but that's what I ended up doing. And I feel like you could reverse it too and say, you know, you got these entitled ass kids. Well, what makes you have to be entitled? Why can't you put yourself in a situation where you become more level-headed and understand that you need to do shit for yourself? You need to take care of shit yourself, take care of business yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like you can go 50-50 on that, go both ways.
I hear you. I got you. Yeah.
So it's tough.
I mean, I think you're just wired a little bit differently, and I don't know, man. With guys like you, especially guys that aren't like 6'8", jumping out of the building and all that. I think there's just inherently something different about you that a lot of kids, because like I feel like a lot of kids, if hypothetically speaking, if a kid took your life trajectory and and worked out the same way you did and played one on one all the time, I still don't think it would be. I think it's just how you see the world and how you carry yourself. I think that's what it comes down to, and I don't think that's something you can build it up a little bit, but I think just it's just your nature.
No, I mean, yeah, it definitely is. It is kind of a part of me, but I don't know. I've just been kind of the way I was raised is like I don't see an excuse for a lot of things. That's kind of just my thought process. Like I understand obviously both sides to everything, and understand like there is always going to be two sides to everything, and there may be a side that I never understand. But one thing like I just won't hear an excuse like, oh, I'm from a wealthier part, so that means I'm not gonna I'm not gonna have the same outcome that someone that's from a low income place would have. Like you can make something out of it, figure it out. It's just maybe tougher, but that's just the way it is. That's just kind of the way that I look at shit. So maybe you're right. It is maybe me being wired a little different, but like the whole no excuses shit, like sounds corny as fuck, but that's facts. I don't see excuses for some of this shit.
Fair. So Weber State, bro. What's what's the what's the energy you're on going to the new season? Is it the same as always? Is
Oh
it?
yeah, definitely. I mean, I think this next year is gonna be. No, I don't think it's gonna be. It'll be my best year. I think throughout college. Like last year was definitely my best year stats wise. But I feel like even last year, like there was another level that I could have took it to, and I feel like going to Weber, it's a new opportunity, different style of play. Um, it's a better situation for me personally, and I feel like this is kind of where like the next step is going to be taken for me in terms of what I want to do after being a professional and whatnot. So I'm looking forward to it, and I'm just kind of excited for what the coaching staff has planned and whatnot.
Man, it's crazy. Weber State, like
It's where Dame went, sick ass school.
crazy.
Yeah.
Um, Last couple of things, bro. Is there anything you would change, looking back on your journey? Are there any things that you wish you could have done differently? Wish you could have done more of?
Um, I'd say one thing that I would definitely have done more of would definitely be appreciate more of what I was given from basketball, but doesn't have to do with basketball, if that makes sense. So all the little opportunities, like at a young age, like I'm starting to like appreciate more of the things that come from basketball now at the point in my life where I'm at, because I'm older and more mature. But I think like the trips and the friends and the relationships that I've built, growing up, I wish that I could go back and take it in more, appreciate it more, because like looking at it now, like I've really started to appreciate the people that have came into my life from basketball, whether that be friends, coaches, girlfriends, like relationships, all types of shit. Like I've started to appreciate that more. All the places that I get to go to, like, bro, I live a good ass life just solely off the shit that basketball has provided. You know what I'm saying? So I get to travel. I get to meet all these people. I've met people that I never thought I'd meet, like ever in my life,
Right.
from celebrities to influencers to professional athletes to just all these people. And I've built relationships with them now. And I feel like at a younger age, I was more standoffish, and I didn't really appreciate, where I was at that time, where my feet were, because I was so focused on what I wanted to do in the future, that I didn't appreciate it. And now I'm at a point just going through the whole D1 experience, college in general, just really appreciating the shit. So if I could go back and if I could give advice to anyone that does end up getting to, be a college athlete in general, it doesn't have to be D1, but really appreciate, the shit that you go through, and the people you meet, the things that you see, the adversity that you face. Because shit, I mean, all college athletes they're living a life.
It's a different life, man. I mean,
it is a crazy life.
Yeah, I'm glad you say that. It doesn't have to be D1.
No,
and you would encourage kids graduating to go to a place that wants you. It doesn't have to be D1. It could be Pac West, for God's sakes,
bro. Especially nowadays, like you could go U Sports and have a crazy ass career overseas. You know what I'm saying? You could even have a chance at the league if that's what your goal is. Sure. Because it's now, we were talking about social media, but like, bro, they got social media, Instagram, all that. They got Synergy, like all this shit where they keep statistics for all levels of college sports. So all these scouts and whatnot, they can see everything. And so it doesn't necessarily just have to be D1. Obviously D1 it's a whole different ball game, but at the end of the day, like you can get shit done from any level if you're really like that. That's what I say. If you're really like that, you get it done. That's why it's not even about like being D1, like going high major, for example. You could get that shit done at a low major school, mid-major school. It's a lot more common nowadays.
Shit. I feel you, man. Man, I appreciate you, dude, because I feel like you impact a lot, and a lot of kids are going to listen to this and kind of get, because people don't really know, I mean, they know you, but they don't really know how you operate and how you think.
Yeah.
Right. And are you getting more open with that? Just like putting yourself out there and.
Yeah, definitely.
Or you've always been a low key guy? Because I feel like you are a bit.
No, I've definitely. I think my natural thing is to be a low key guy. Like I like to keep to myself, and I don't really want people knowing a whole lot about me. That's just how I am, because I've always kind of lived the life like the less that people know about you, the happier you're gonna be, and so that's kind of how I've always been. But like, in terms of like me seeing these young guys, go through this entire process of trying to get to college or D1, like I've definitely opened up to a lot more people and just being real about, what it takes and what comes from it and what you need to expect. And just kind of, like I said, like the mentality that you got to have and how, you got to be ready to be like a dog when you go to, if you want to be a Division I basketball player, because the shit ain't sweet. It's shit is
I've heard
tough.
Some shit, yeah.
And so I've definitely got more open and just kind of like telling people, younger kids, that, and just kind of like helping them in the ways that I can. But yeah, no, I've always been low key though. This is kind of how I am.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you, man, coming on this, because I think this is eye opening for a lot of people.
No, for sure.
And I'm gonna be keeping in touch with how you do, man, because I think you fucking killed it this year. So, and you really, this is gonna be your, what's the goal? League?
Shit is play as high professional basketball as I can, whether that be get a shot at the league, summer league, G League, overseas, shit, whatever it is.
It's even that, man. It's like crazy to me, because like I completely thought you were gonna be different, where it's like from a young age I was like, fucking, I'm going D1. Fuck all y'all. I'm killing. I don't give a fuck who's in front of me. But it's way more laid back than I thought, which is it's counter intuitive to how I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah. No, I think like subconsciously I'm always have like I'm not gonna come on here and just, you know what I'm saying, like my personality is not the guy to like just go bloat about me fucking killing everyone. I think you put me on the court and you put someone in front of me, that's how I'm gonna think, but I ain't gonna come on here and tell you like, that's what it is. And in terms of like what my dreams and goals are, like, I mean, like I said, I'm going for, what I'm aiming for is as high as I can go, like, and I'm going to appreciate whatever that is. And because I live a good life regardless. And a lot of people, they look at, them not going to D1 or the league or whatever as like a failure. I'm not going to look at it like that, because that's only going to hold you back, in my opinion. It's kind of just like go with the flow And that's kind of like my personality too, is real like calm, go with the flow, like shit gonna work out because of how, you know, I operate day to day. And so that's just the way it is for me.
Yeah. I mean, to me, man, to anyone, I feel like you've not overachieved, but you've achieved more than 99.8% of fucking people, especially from BC. So
yeah, no, shit.
Man, I appreciate you. Thank you, dude.
No problem. I got you.
Good. Yeah.